Our veteran today is being sponsored by Representative Scott Inman. Representative Inman, you're recognized to introduce the Veteran of the Week.
It is my privilege to bring to you this week's Veteran of the Week. He is a gentleman who has dedicated whom I consider a friend, but he is a gentleman who dedicated his life to our country and to my hometown of Del City. He actually grew up in Shakota, out near Representative Canada and Representative McPeak's district, but he spent over 60 years of his life in Del City. He spent 20 years of his life in the United States Air Force, being stationed in Italy, where he flew 26 missions as a radio operator gunner, risking his life, targeting the strategic opposition targets, all so that you and I can live in this country as free citizens. And when he was done in Italy, he came back home. He helped to recruit. He helped to recruit more folks to join the Air Force and the service to do exactly what he did. And finally, when he finally retired as a Master Sergeant from the United States Air Force, he did what any red-blooded American man would do. He went to become Vice President of Sales at Budweiser, right? So he really has served this country since the day he was born, just about, I'll be honest with you. But with that being said, it is my pleasure to present to you Juney Sarge Patterson. And Mr. Speaker, if it's appropriate, would we have the citation read?
Clerk will read the citation.
Whereas Juney L. Patterson was born May 15, 1924, and enlisted with the United States Army Air Force on December 4, 1945, serving in the 15th Air Force Heavy Bomber Unit, 304th Bombardment Wing, 456th Bombardment Group, 746th Squadron stationed in Cherignola, Italy. And whereas Master Sergeant Juney L. Patterson acted as a radio operator gunner on the B24 Liberator on 26 missions, providing crucial support throughout the end of the Second World War, targeting chiefly crucial targets such as enemy aircraft plants, storage facilities, locomotive works, and viaducts, and providing air support for the British and French ground forces. And whereas after the war, Master Sergeant Juney L. Patterson became a member of the Mutual Defense Assistant Program, training NATO forces in Belgium, France, and Turkey before returning to the United States, where he settled in Oklahoma and led a very successful civilian life after retiring from the United States Air Force on December 1, 1964. And whereas the state of Oklahoma holds our veterans in highest esteem and appreciates the sacrifices and contributions they have made to preserve our freedoms and way of life. And whereas the Oklahoma House of Representatives takes great pride in honoring you as Veteran of the Day. And now therefore, pursuant to the motion of Representative Scott M. Inman, in the state of Oklahoma extends to Juney Sarge Patterson sincere commendations and directs that this citation be presented.
At this time, Mr. Speaker, if it'd be appropriate, before I allow Mr. Patterson to speak, I'd like him to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sarge, we've got a couple of things that we want to present to you. Not only do we have the citation that was just read, but we've also got a flag that was flown over the state capitol here in your honor that we'd like to give to you with a certificate signifying that it was in fact flown over the capitol on the day in which it was flown. And at this time, if it is okay with you, we'd like you to address the House of Representatives.
I appreciate this very much. I want to thank Scott and all you gentlemen. And my theory of operation throughout my life was I operate like this: always be friendly, fair, and firm, and then you can get the job done. Thank you, sir, and it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
You may be seated.
Thank you, Sarge, very much. And members, before we go, I do want to say this, that Sarge dedicated his life to our country, but he also dedicated 62 years to a woman who unfortunately couldn't be here, but he was married to his beautiful wife, Patsy, for 62 years. They had 2 children, and they've got 2 grandchildren. His son-in-law, Bo, is in the gallery, sort of standing in place for all the family. But I know that not only did he love his country, but he loved his family, and he lived that way. And so, Sarge, congratulations once again on behalf of the House of Representatives.